Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez. That sunglass donning, hat wearing son of a gun is Dan and Daygo, and yes, we are back. It's been a rough couple of weeks for Dan and I, moving, work and training camp and everything. So our schedules kind of haven't mixed and matched, but tonight it did. So we are back. The Chargers just, you know what? Before we even get into that, I'm gonna see how Dan and Daygo is doing. Dan, how are you?
I'm ecstatic, Frown. Can't you tell I'm freaking zooming? If you're on the audio, get to YouTube. Watch me on the Millennium Falcon over here going hyperspeed, or what was it? Hyperspeed? Yeah, I think it was. No, lightspeed, hyperspeed, whichever one it was. You all know I'm a Star Wars fan anyway. Excited, got a win on Friday, 1-0, starting off the season right, undefeated. And you know what, Frown? Most importantly, football's back, baby. Let's go. Woo-hoo-hoo! I'm done with this baseball for now. I'm done with the Olympics or whatever else has happened over the summer. I don't know because I get into a depressive mode because there's no football. Now it's back. I'm excited and I'm amped up, dude.
So Dan, if you got to go on the Millennium Falcon and you go into the future, do you get what you ultimately want out of?
Oh, don't start with this. Don't start with this. Look, I just want the listeners to know, look how he's trying to set me up for failure and trying to get me in trouble over here, trying to get me to do some predictions and other things of that nature. I'm not going to fall for that trap, Frown. Just like Commander, whatever that alien's name was, it's a trap.
So obviously, like we mentioned, the Saints, in this episode, talk a little bit about the Saints and the Chargers preseason game. I want to get a little bit more into maybe training camp and some of the other stuff that has been going on. I mean, yeah, there's an emphasis in the preseason games, but it feels like Brandon Staley and his staff, since he got here, the more emphasis has been the joint practices, what they see in training camp. Why? Because obviously the starters aren't playing any preseason games. The only starters that played on the offensive side of the football were Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer. So I wonder if, because both of them switched positions, that's why they're playing a little bit more than before. But obviously that's a question that we'll ask Brandon Staley coming up this week. But I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I don't see them playing on Friday against the 49ers. I feel like they're like, okay, these guys have already gotten 2 games. They got 2 joint practices. All right, time to kind of chill out there. But yeah, the Saints end up beating the Chargers 22-17. Easton Stick kind of comes back down to reality. Last week he had a very strong game. This game he kind of struggled a little. He struggled. No, I'm being honest. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, Easton Stick looks like a backup. He definitely needs to be the guy behind Justin."
Dude,
but
they're playing the Rams. Their starters are 2s and 3s for God's sake.
Don't tell me that. But there is a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of worrisome. But the staff is the Charger staff is very high on Easton Stick, but there should be a little hesitation and some discussions about possibly maybe bringing in a backup quarterback who has experience. I mean, they did it with Phillip Rivers. They did it with Justin at the beginning.
Jesus, I remember that.
Now, well, not really him. I'm talking more about Kellen Clemens, guys that remember Billy Volek ended up winning a playoff game for them against the Indianapolis Colts in 2000. I think it was 2007. 2007, he leads the Chargers on like an 80 or 90 yard drive. He does a quarterback sneak, scores a touchdown, and then they go on to New England with where Rivers played on the torn ACL. But like, they've had guys that have played before in Easton. I mean, I know he's played in the NFL, like he's played for the Chargers, but like you kind of want a veteran as the backup. But hey, I mean, obviously I'm on this side, I'm not on that side.
Yeah,
but definitely some interesting stuff on there. Easton ends up with 21 for 41, 233, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. The sacks aren't all his fault. There was constant pressure on him, but some of the sacks, I mean, he would decide to take off and run kind of late. He would bump into one of his offensive linemen, then the guy would come up and sack him. He got on that final drive, he got sacked twice. On that final drive to where
Instead of throwing the ball away, that was sometimes the problem too. If your progressions aren't there, just throw the ball away. Live to fight another down. Don't lose 5 or 6 yards trying to, create home run plays every single time. Sometimes you got to live to fight another day. Throw the football into the dirt somewhere. That's all you got to do, or throw it out of bounds.
And I know Easton's the Chargers are trying to develop him. He signed that extension in the offseason and everything, but it's just there should be a little bit of hesitation there. But he did some good stuff. I mean, he was able to find Quentin Johnson a couple of times. He found Keelan Doss a couple of times. I was surprised that he played the whole game, but that just kind of means that, hey, guys, we're going to carry 2. I don't know how long Easton plays on Friday. That's going to be interesting to see. I feel like he might just go a quarter, maybe 2, and they let Max kind of play his.
Well, they're going to have to give him a shot. Maybe each will get a full game. Who knows, dude?
I don't know. I'd be surprised if Max is on the final 53-man roster, but Easton did, like I said, he did some good stuff, but he did a lot of bad, like taking off and running. That is his thing. He was the highest he was a leading rusher, 7 carries, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, both touchdowns were nice. Well, no, the first one or the second one was just a quarterback sneak. The first one was nice. I mean, it was a fake. And then he obviously took off. Stone Smart was able to block for him, and he walked into the end zone. So right now, obviously, I mean, once I'm done talking a little bit more about Easton Stick, we'll end up talking about we'll end up breaking down some guys that we thought had a good game and some guys who flashed. Obviously, I wrote about it in the Sporting Tribune, so go check that out of who I thought showed some flashes. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm beating kind of a dead drum, and I know, obviously, like I said, I'm not a coach or anything, but I just think of JB. I'm not a coach.
All right,
but yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you saw, Dan. I just, like, there is some good, but there is a lot of bad tendencies that he has. I don't know what you thought, but
I've been saying this since like 2 years ago. Why aren't we getting the kid in there like Taysom Hill? Like, he's got some speed. I don't know about his hands, but it's like you get him into some open space, that fool's going to outrun some people. Why not? Maybe Kellen Moore's planting the little seeds for that right now, trying to show off his athleticism. Who knows? But I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's preseason. It's a backup quarterback. I personally understand that if the Son of Odin goes down, we're going to go as far as that man carries, or sorry, the Chargers are going to go as far as that man decides to carry him. So if they go down, they need to hope to God they have something, up their sleeve. Because this is the other thing, right? You talk sometimes about getting guys who played. Chase Daniel had to step in last year for, a series or whatever it was because of his broken rib. I don't know what shot he took. And they pulled him off, I think, against Kansas City. The guy couldn't even complete a pass. Like that right there, you need to find someone competent behind him. Like, you can't just keep guys because they've been in the NFL or them or whatever it is. Like, dude couldn't complete a pass. He looked nervous as hell out there and everything else, even though the guy was a vet. Like, for the quarterback position, it's one of those things where it's like you don't expect ever to lose your quarterback. So the backup, you've got to find someone who's at least competent and not nervous under the lights and who can complete certain basic routes, because you saw that last year when he stepped out, the offense looked terrible. It wasn't like and sometimes really, and then sometimes, in all honesty, and I might get some flack for this, it comes down to the play caller and the offensive coordinator and the head coach and how they design these things. Because again, when we talk about Andy Reid and his genius masterclass, he had a second stringer in there, I think, against was it the Bengals in the playoffs, or I can't remember who it was.
No, it was against the Browns 2 years ago.
It was a regular season then. Mahomes gets hurt with the ankle, literally throws in a backup, marches him down 98 yards or whatever
Henny,
it was.
I think.
No, isn't he gone? Who cares? The point is, I don't remember if it was him. I'm not sure. But the point is, the guy understood how to get people open and work to this man's strengths. And I think sometimes that's overlooked when it comes to play calling or offensive designs and stuff like that. Like, you can't just have a system that's, one size fits all, because it's not always going to work. So that's just my 2 cents on that. You need to have someone competent behind there, obviously, as a just in case, like, hey, break glass in case of emergency. You need to be able to have someone competent at least to keep a drive alive and hopefully move the ball, and that way you don't go 3 and out like they did last year.
If I asked you, who do you think is the Chiefs' backup quarterback? Who would you guess right now?
Chad Henne was the only one I could think about, honestly, after you said that. I have no idea. Who's the Chiefs' backup quarterback.
He's a former first-round draft pick.
Really?
Yeah, you're right. It was Chad Henne. I was right. It was Chad Henne.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah.
But it was in the divisional against the Jaguars.
Oh, it was in the divisional against the Jaguars. Yeah, that's what it was. I thought
but he did it. But he did it as well. But he did it as well a couple of years ago. I think 2 years ago against
the guy's always been clutch. He was the guy who I think ended the Chargers season. That it was a win and you're in, and he was the backup in Kansas City. I think Alex Smith
14
or whoever. Yeah. And obviously cleaned the clock of the Chargers, and they didn't make the playoffs. But anyway, that's the whole point.
Okay, who do you think is the backup quarterback? He's a former first-round draft pick. He was drafted by the Jaguars.
Oh yeah, Blake Bortles.
No, Blake Bortles out of the NFL, fool.
Oh really? Oh damn. Oh then
you're close though. It's with a B.
Drafted by the Jaguars, first round with a B. How many quarterbacks did they get to draft in the first round, dude?
Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, damn. I thought he was out of the NFL.
No, I remember he's with the Chiefs. I just saw it right now. I didn't even know. I saw it right now, and I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, I never would have guessed that.
Don't worry, because let me tell you something. He gets onto that field, Andy Reid's going to make him look like an all-pro. Well, you saw the other night, I think they put up the stats on Twitter. Mahomes went 10 for 10. The next guy went 20 for 20 or something like that. And the last one went like 9 for 12 or whatever. And it's like, that just tells you once again how much of a genius Andy Reid is and how he understands not only how to get people open, but to keep things simple and work to the strengths of the players on the field. Like, it's absolutely insane. Honestly, hats off to that guy. That guy's a genius.
Dan,
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I have a question for you, brother. Are you a Mahomie?
Oh, get out of here. I was about to start hulking up. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I'm like, play the clip of Joey Bosa talking about Mahomes. If you watched quarterbacks with Mahomes, that's what I am. I'm on the same boat as Joey Bosa right there. I would never be a Mahomie over my dead body.
So you were talking about
aren't they doing this year anyway? You can carry 3 quarterbacks.
No, it's if you I think it's for a game you can have 3 quarterbacks and it doesn't count as a roster spot.
Oh, so there you go. So they're gonna have to keep 3 anyway.
No, you don't keep 3. He still counts as I'm talking about on game day. It doesn't count as a roster spot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they'll have a quarterback.
No, but you can't keep 3 on the roster. Well, I guess you can keep 3 on the roster. I do not see them keeping 3 on the roster.
You'd be surprised.
They did that last year. You either have to bring in a 4th running back, a 6th receiver, or maybe an extra defensive lineman because Tito Ogbanez.
Oh yeah.
Still hasn't.
That's weird. Then I wonder how they're going to do that then with a 3rd quarterback if it doesn't count as a roster spot.
So weird. Well, yeah, but yeah, you're right on what's it called? You're right on what you were saying right now about
backup quarterbacks. You got to get
quarterback.
Like, their job essentially is to be an extra coach. That's about it. Like, be the extra coach, see what everyone's seeing, be an extension of the coaching staff, and that's about it. I don't know what else they do. You might want to watch here we go.
You win.
Watch that.
You haven't watched it? I'll watch a documentary on Mahomes.
I don't know. I
For
mean,
what?
I don't know. Like, because
What are you,
at least
crazy?
it's some kind of football.
There's
How come
8
there-
billion shows on TV.
I know.
You think I'm going to go home and watch?
Okay, how come there's no
You
show
just
on?
watch famous interviews when you get home from work?
How much? Actually, the really good
On
ones you
YouTube?
do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's actually what. Okay, but how come there's
Nothing
nothing on
against
defense?
Mahomes, but I mean,
no,
Jesus.
it's like I don't
He
want
had to catch himself there.
There's also the Kirk Cousins. Like that's a different dude, right? Like Tuesday.
He had to catch himself there. Could you imagine how much time he probably clocks in watching anime or any of that stuff? I don't know.
Well, I think Joey's also like a film monster. Like I'm sure he watches because
Oh yeah, obviously I'm not saying he
yeah, but
doesn't,
you're right.
yeah.
Anime, yeah. Well, the whole there's a lot of guys. Chris Rumpf also does. Like, there's a lot of guys on the team that watch anime, but Joey's one of those guys that you can tell like he studies every offensive lineman. Like Tyreek Hill just came out. And did you hear what Tyreek Hill said?
Yeah, he learns it in math and off their ratings or whatever.
And he sees their awareness and stuff. Like Joey's the guy that pays attention to the opposing offensive lineman. Like I'm telling you, him and Giff Smith and him have been together since Joey came into the league. Giff Smith actually coached your tribal chief a couple of years ago at Georgia Tech. But he Joey's always been he pays attention to that kind of stuff. He sees what he needs to do to be able to beat certain offensive linemen, and he studies and he does everything well. But that clip, that's just typical Joey. Like people who don't understand Joey Bosa, like the dude is hilarious, and that clip was just one of the funnier clips.
I was dead when I first saw it. That's so crazy to me. Like, allow me to get on my old man soap opera real quick. What happened to the age where people would study their opponents, not shake hands before games, and do all this stuff and take it all serious? It's just so crazy to me now, dude. Like I still don't understand how you're a first round draft pick in the Manziel doc. You watch zero tape. I don't get that. All because you're throwing a hissy fit because you're in Cleveland. It's wild to me, dude. It's wild to me. Let me tell you something. I get a chance in the NFL at anything. I don't care about a social life at that point. I want to be busting my ass doing everything I can to make sure I stay in the men's league, dude. It's absolutely insane sometimes the way these people throw away opportunities. But honestly, I think if anything, it speaks to Tyreek Hill's athleticism also, like that he just shows up and literally boom, go crazy. Yeah. Absolutely insane, dude.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, obviously the old man in you has to do that, but this is kind of I feel like this is you though.
Oh, he's dialing them up today.
People, both teams are trying very hard. What the hell's wrong with you? Stop acting like a damn cheerleader. Sportsmanship, try it. Shut up.
He's 2 for 2 today. You're on fire. Stone Cold Steve Austin, shout out. Yes, I am kind of like that. You can, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can try and kill you between the whistles and shake your hand at the end of the game. There's no problem with that. But it's at the end of the game. I'm not going to over here, like the kids say, dap you up before the game and chat you up and all that crap. It's after the game, after hopefully I beat you, or I'm gonna be a man and shake your hand and then walk.
I love
away.
when they do. I love the pregame when like two teams, like people like Sauce Gardner and somebody else start talking crap, and then all teams like come into the tunnel, like before they come out of the tunnel, they're all like talking crap and everything.
Oh, I love that. That's when you can tell it's real. Like one thing I hate, I guess, going off top a little bit, I hate all the MMA boxing guys who like treat the promos like WWE and they're all there talking trash. Then after the match, they're all hugging up and everything else. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, I love watching fights that are actually bad blood and it goes on. And then there's the part 2 and everything else. I just like it more. I find it more entertaining.
It kind of feels like Conor McGregor makes every fight personal. Like there's some guy like Floyd Mayweather makes every fight personal. Like there's some guy like Muhammad Ali would make every fight personal. Like those are the kind of guys that you want to watch and you'll watch no matter what. Like right now, if Conor got back in the ring, you'll blow up pay-per-views with that.
He's going back. I think supposedly.
We'll see. But like the Paul brothers, like everybody right now hates the Paul brothers.
That one I refuse to watch.
No, but hold on. People watch and tune in. That's why they do pay-per-view numbers, is because people want to see them lose. The same way I remember probably the last 10 years of Floyd Mayweather's career. I mean, I know he's still doing exhibitions, but the last like 10 years of Floyd Mayweather's career, everybody was just tuning in to see if he would lose, and then people would get frustrated and they'd be like, what the hell? So But
let's
yeah,
get back to
I
football.
mean,
I'm done with this. When you brought up the Paul brothers for now, I'm done. I'm over
well,
it. Let's
I
move
have
on.
to. Hey, Logan. I mean, everybody hates on him, but in WWE, he's a good performer. So
Good wrestler. Still don't
uh,
like him. Don't have to.
no,
like
I
him.
know. But let's go now to what Brandon Staley had to say after the game about some of the youngsters. Let's go to that now.
I thought that just the defense in general, I thought was really solid most of the night. I think there was those 3 big plays. That was kind of the story. But otherwise, I really liked the way the group competed. Thought they gave us a chance. I thought our run defense, our third down defense, our red zone defense was really good. I thought that.
So obviously, we have to mention it. There was, I guess I'll mention that late. I'll mention his name later, but Daiyan Henley right away stood out. 9 tackles. He had that sack. He shot in, and I'm just like, wow, his athleticism really showed. And I think the Chargers are going to be in this position where I know they want to go K9 and Eric Kendricks, but I think they're going to have to find a little bit of a role for Daiyan Henley. Like, I know special teams is going to be a role for him, but I think you're going to have to find a way to maybe, obviously if he keeps on progressing, but I just feel like part of me thinks that if he could see a couple snaps a game, I think you're going to see some positive growth from him. I think he's a player that I'm okay. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm not comparing the two, but he's kind of like Justin Herbert in a sense. I feel like Daiyan learns by being thrown into the fire. Remember, Justin learned being thrown into the fire. I think Daiyan might be a player like that. And he kind of said that during his opening press conference. I remember he said, I like being thrown into the fire. And Dan, I've seen it during training camp. He lets his instincts take over, and his instincts are a good thing. He's a former quarterback turned safety. He's played all over the field. So he kind of sees things a different way. Yeah, exactly. So he sees things a different way. I think he is going to be a future piece of the Chargers, but I think he's going to be a guy that can really that could be able to help these guys this year, especially because and I know Eric Kendricks is a good blitzing linebacker, but Drew Tranquil was good at that last year as well. So maybe Daiyan can be that guy that kind of does that kind of. I'm not saying just bring him in and every play blitzes, because defense are going to pick up on that, or offenses are going to pick up on that quickly. But I'm saying give him a couple of plays, let's see what he can do. But and then against the run, especially the last 2 games, I thought he's done an exceptional job of getting in the backfield, no matter if it was for that half sack or for getting in there and trying to stop the run numerous times. I know he was kind of the main player on that running touchdown that they had, but for the most part, I thought he had it over him.
Yeah. But that's tough to cover anyway, especially with the running backs coming out of the backfield. But in terms of like that whole situation or that whole group, I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised, Kenneth Murray isn't playing in preseason. I didn't think last year he put enough tape out there really to warrant him not playing in preseason. Yeah. And that's not me taking a shot. I'm not calling him a bad human being or any of that stuff. I'm just saying I think the tape speaks for itself. I'm surprised he's not getting reps. So I think honestly, Henley probably will work in there, because you saw last year at some points, he just wasn't cutting it, either in the run game or whatever it is. And like we've talked about, I think Gilberto brought up a great point. Shout out to him. He's going to get one today. When you have to find new positions for guys, I think that speaks volumes. And it's like, I just don't think he's shown enough. Again, I'll say this last time and then I'll move on. To warrant not to play in preseason, I think Jerry Tillery last year, him not playing showed a lot, because he was, I don't know if he wasn't ready or he just wasn't up to par. It's either or. And like I said, I'm surprised he's not playing. I think Henley for sure probably will get some reps. I think he most likely will. If not, you might, it's gonna be pretty interesting, because you've seen the flashes. Like, he comes downhill hard. He has speed. It looks like he's not afraid to hit in between the tackles and take on some of those guards and stuff like that. He shoots in the backfield when he's blitzing like a bat out of hell. So I think there's no way he doesn't. I don't find a way. I don't believe they're not going to give him reps, if that makes sense. You saw last year, Fernando, how many times didn't he's gonna have to forgive me. Or is it Amen? His first name?
Amen Agbanya.
Amen Agbanya, how many times did he have to come in to either give Kenneth Murray a spell or try a different look because just it wasn't working? And so that's going to be a big thing because this is my thing. If you don't mind me going for a little bit, your biggest weakness last year was the run game. And you can tell they're trying to switch things up because number one, they didn't resign Drew Tranquil because he's one of those hybrid linebackers, not big enough to take on guards and tackles in the box. That's very tough. And that's not me disrespecting Drew Tranquil. I thought he should have came back. I thought he had a hell of a season. He deserved it, but it is what it is. And you could tell the switch because they bring in Eric Kendricks. He might be 100 pounds heavier. I don't know how many pounds, 40, 50. I don't know, but he's definitely bigger. Sorry for now. I'm not a mathematician like yourself who can look at people and just calculate it like nothing. But clearly different body types, to say the least. Clearly different body types. Now look at some of the D linemen they're bringing in. The 72 guy, I think, was 6'7". God knows how much he weighs. And I think again, forgive me for your Okaya or something like that, number 67, massive also. So they're trying to bring in man eaters, block eaters to try and really stuff these games up. And I think, honestly, I know it's only preseason, everybody. I should relax and everything else. But from what I saw tonight, for the most part, they were eating up some blocks and getting some stalemates at the line of scrimmage, which is all you need from defensive linemen to win on defense. So if they can figure out how to stay low enough, I think those two are going to be, obviously, if they keep them, who knows if they get cut, waived, or whatever other magic word they want to call it these days. I think if they keep them and they can manage to work on their technique and get low, I think they're going to be really hard to block and their run game is going to improve vastly.
By the way, you complimented Hilberto. This is him right now when he hears this.
So you're just going 3 for 3. You just have all these clips randomly saved and for different.
That's why I was smiling earlier. Like, I know you're gonna get mad and you're gonna tell me when we're done. You're distracting me, but that's why I was laughing because I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna grab this clip and I'm gonna have it ready for him."
Hey, a dead clock is right 2 times a day, Alberto. Shout out to you for that one.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Kenneth Murray, and I know that there's been a lot of positivity, a lot of negativity. Let me bring it to the middle. I like Derwin James, and that's the thing, is that I know the coaches sometimes prop these guys up. I go more by what the players are saying, and Derwin and Eric Kendricks have been 2 guys that obviously Eric Kendricks wears a green dot. Derwin's been a leader of this defense. They're both saying that Kenneth Murray is, well, my bad. Derwin said that he's having the best camp he's ever had, which, I mean, obviously he's had, and I wrote this the other day, it's like he's had a roller coaster of a career so far. Like, there's ups, there's downs, there's okay, there's bad. So I completely understand that, but he is reading the offense a little bit more, but I just don't know if it's because he's been in the system, he knows the offense, he knows what's going on, or if it's really his instincts taking over. I think that's been his biggest problem. I think he overthinks way too much, and he doesn't let his instincts take over. At Oklahoma, it looked like his instincts took over, and that's how he was able to make a lot of plays. Here, I mean, we've seen it. We saw it in the game against the Raiders a couple of years ago, where Josh Jacobs just shot right by him. He whiffed on the tackle. We've seen him whiff on tackles. We've seen him whiff on sacks. But then there's also been positivities. Last year, I remember he sacked Nick Foles in that game on Monday Night Football. He has had other plays where he does make an impact and he gets up and he starts clapping and stuff. And he gets, you see the flashes. Now this season is going to be important for him to put it together. Why? Because one, they're not bringing you, like, your 5th-year option was not picked up by the team. You are going to be a free agent after this year. Ray Lewis has always said the 4th year is really when you're going to see what the player's made of. Well, guess what? This is his 4th year. What are you made of, Kenneth Murray? That is going to be the biggest thing about this season going in about Kenneth Murray. What is he really made out of? Who is he? Like, is he going to be the guy that just shows flashes and just continues to show flash for the rest of his career? Or is he finally going to kind of turn that corner? Is Eric Kendricks really the guy that's really going to help him put it together? And that's going to be the question, because Daiyan Henley, I know he's only a rookie, but he's going to be breathing down his neck at one point. Like, at one point, you're going to have him right behind you saying, hey, come on, like, I want it. Like, I want to be in there. I want to be the one making the plays. I feel like I'm better than you. So, and I know that Kenneth is a former first round draft pick, but if talent oversees what you're seeing on the field, I mean, you're gonna have to replace
what it is.
who can go in there and make an impact. But
just
but
from a coach's perspective alone, like I always tell the boys, make it so, especially in practice, make it so it's impossible for me to bench you. Period.
Exactly.
No ifs, ands, or buts. We'll get killed waiting on potential. Shout out to Coach Pompa for that little saying. But that is plain and simple. You practice how you play on Friday nights, Saturday nights, or Sunday nights. You've got to be, locked in from Monday to Thursday to Friday to Saturday to whenever the hell your game is. And, you can't make technique come out of nowhere. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, like we said, because I thought he should have had some of these extra reps in preseason. That's why, going back to what you said earlier, I think Zion and Jamari are still playing just to kind of get more game speed at new positions and everything else, just because it does. Like you need volumes of reps to be comfortable with positions that you're playing in, especially if they're new. So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting because the other thing that's going to happen, Frown, like you mentioned, either Henley's going to want it or the coach is going to be in the game saying, you know what, we need to make a change. We're hemorrhaging over here. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because, like I said, I don't think the tape's been there enough to where he shouldn't have played in preseason, but obviously I'm not making those decisions, so it is what it is. So
yeah. Thule was another guy that I thought has played well his first two preseason games.
He looks thick too, yeah.
And he's a guy that Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack have been very high on. They've been speaking about him. They're like, dude, this kid he has a high motor. And remember, he's only 20 years old. I mean, the kid's really going to be able to grow into his own, but the Chargers are really excited about him. He had a high tackle for loss total and a high sack total last year for USC. Now he comes here. Hey, you don't have to do as much as you did at USC. You're behind Joey and Khalil, but when you come in, we need you to be high motor. Tonight against on Sunday night against first round pick Trevor Penning, he went up and he did a swim move on him and he went up and tackled Merriweather, the running back. And you're like, oh, wow, like that was an impressive move. I know obviously you as an offensive line coach would have been pissed with your offensive lineman for that one.
Well, yeah, his feet were made of cement right there.
Like I go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I was just
gonna say I thought it was a great move by him, and it just keeps on showing flashes. Last week he was getting into God, it wasn't Stenton Bennett. I can't remember who the quarterback was for the Rams last week, but he was getting in their face consistently. And it's like, okay, maybe the Chargers might have something with this guy. And I mean, the last time that they got a guy from USC, Uchenna Nwosu, it took Uchenna a little bit to kind of get going, but when he got going, and now he got a big contract extension with the Seattle Seahawks after having, I think he had 10.5 or like 11 sacks last year for the Seahawks. So he's kind of turned it on. So now I think the Chargers are hoping that this kid ends up being a game changer for them because, like we said last year, and I kept on beating this table. I said it week in, week out. Now that Joey's injured, there is no pass rush. Nobody's helping Khalil Mack, so everybody was double teaming Khalil Mack. And he could only do so much. But obviously, Kyle Van Noy turned it on the last couple of weeks. And that's because he was adjusting to his new role. When Kyle was coming in, he's like, hey, he was going to be a positionless player, kind of like Derwin is. And when Joey went down, they're like, hey, we need you to just become a pass rusher, basically, and help out like that. So that's how he started helping. But now it's okay. Now you have him. People have been really high on Chris Rumph. I think he's done some good. You still see some weaknesses there, and I'm just being completely honest, and that's what you're gonna get here. I mean, honesty.
It's like we talk about. None of these are ESPN takes of trying to get headlines or
no. And I mean, Dan is a fan of the team, but Dan doesn't have like.
I got my coach's hat on.
He's not your typical fan, and I think Eric Williams has noted that numerous times that Dan's not a typical fan.
I try and put my coach's hat on.
And then obviously I cover the team, so so definitely you're gonna get the real. So obviously
let's keep it 100 for now.
Exactly. I thought Quentin Johnson showed some good stuff out there. Obviously,
he ran the hell out of a curl route, dude. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's what they had him run. No, he ran that in route. What are you talking about?
No, you know I'm just kidding.
No, I know, but that's the thing is that I think that, like I said, like I was telling you during the game, I think this is gonna change it when he comes, like when he has to play with Herbert and Palmer and Allen and Mike.
Well, yeah, because
it's gonna be different.
Double team or whatever.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
I'm glad you brought.
I don't want to talk about. I was gonna talk about that Easton throw, the one where everybody's like, "Oh, what a great throw," and I'm kind of like,
"Oh my god, dude,
that was a duck." And Terrell
Bynum, that was not what it was.
Terrell Bynum made a good play on it, but okay, now I want to, like Dan said, Gerard Clark. I thought he showed some really good stuff. He was flashing. And I said at the beginning, we're not gonna get too much. We're not gonna be. Well, no, we've mixed in training camp with the players that we're talking about. Yeah. But I thought Gerard Clark has had a strong camp. Man, it's gonna be kind of hard to use a C word with him, but to cut him, it's gonna be tough. But I think he's a developmental guy that could really help these guys out. I know the Chargers have had in the past Braden Fehilko. They've had some other guys that people have fallen in love with, but I think Gerard Clark could really be a guy for them that could help out with. But I just think they're so, I don't want to say stacked on the defensive line, but there's so many bodies and good players that they have on there that I just think for right now, I don't see him making the team.
Tough to pick,
but definitely I see him catching on as a practice squad player. But Dan, honestly, guys, we want to thank you guys because I know a lot of people have been hitting us up and they're like, "Hey, like, when is What's Up Bolts coming back?" We honestly appreciate you guys for being so patient with us.
Honestly, yeah.
Jay Moretti messaged me and he's like, "Yo, like, what's going on? Like, why haven't you guys been on?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Like, Dan and I have been really busy and
we had Hell Week. We had
and obviously I've been at training camp and everything. So it's been hard. But he asked about Justin Herbert and how he's been doing at camp. He's like, we haven't really heard, and I'm kind of like, I kind of thought about.
I hope you pulled up the Ricky Bobby clip. If you pulled up anything else, I'm gonna be disappointed.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? What do I mean? When they ask, "Hey, Ricky Bobby, how do you do this?" Well, Dick, I just gotta be honest with you. I'll wake up in the morning and I piss excellence. Legendary clip.
No, I know, but the thing is, the thing about Herbert is, I think when you don't hear anything, it's good. Like, I think that's the thing. I feel like some people have been wondering, oh, like, what's up with Herbert, this, that. But I thought Herbert had a strong camp. I thought they're obviously learning stuff. But the thing is, too, folks, is that they're not going to show us everything that they're doing. Why? There's fans.
Well, I know exactly what Kellen Moore is going to be doing week 1 against Miami. Frown.
Oh, I bet.
I have seen it. I have seen the lights. That's why I went in hyperspeed, Frown, to go see what happens in week 1. I am already.
Oh, prepared. You only did week 1? I'm surprised. I thought you'd do a lot more.
I'm not trying to break my heart either. I'm trying.
To be completely honest, though, like, they're not gonna, and folks are gonna wonder, why don't they show everything? Folks, there's people in the stands. There's fans recording. They're recording every single play. They're putting it on social media. They're putting it on Twitter. They're putting it on Instagram. Well, obviously, they're not going to show everything off because then people can grab that and go and use it against them. So it's like, why would they show everything when there's fans there? So obviously, yeah, exactly, Bill Belichick. But
you don't disrespect the GOAT.
I thought that's what you were trying to point at.
No, yeah.
But, one of our compas, Vic Tarfer, was there at training camp. He was there for the joint practices because obviously he's a Raiders beat writer, but he was there to see Derek Carr and some of the other guys. And this is what he had to tweet out. He goes, "Watching Herbert practice the last 2 days, I don't know how the Chargers ever lose." And I feel like Dan has the same gripe, or I don't know if I'll gripe, but I think Dan has the same question as Vic. Like, how do they lose when Justin Herbert is on that field? But Vic was very, and like I said, he's a compa. I love Vic. Adam Hill was also there. Shout out to him.
Shout out.
Make sure you follow both of those guys. But
They're
they were
awesome.
both raving about Herbert and the way he played, and the touch that he has on the ball is ridiculous. So I thought Justin had a good training camp. He really, I mean, and this is the thing, guys, and for some of you guys who haven't made it out to training camp, a huge emphasis this year was, hey, let's get Justin practicing with other guys, not just the starters, not just the guys that maybe the 2s and the 1s. Let's get him with the 3s, the 4s, and even the 5s. Like, they had him practicing with almost every single receiver, every single tight end, every single running back. Why? Because last year taught the Chargers a valuable lesson. They didn't have Keenan Allen. They didn't have Mike Williams. And it took a little bit for, Justin, you could throw him out there with Dan. You could throw him out there with the compas, and I feel like he could lead the Chargers to victory.
Bet your ass I'm going to get open for my tribal chief, dude. For the son of Odin, I'm gonna move hell and high water.
What if Gilberto's tired?
I'm going to give him a good kick in the ass and tell him to get out there, fool.
So definitely, I'll
say something about that. I think honestly, when it comes to, I'm gonna say it, I'll say the best quarterback in the league, you're not going to hear anything really in training camp because you already expect him to be great. I would be more worried if you're hearing things coming out of training camp, like Justin Herbert's throwing picks, fumbling snaps, or whatever it is. Like, no news is good news in my mind when it comes to him. Like, I totally understand. He wakes up in the morning and pisses excellence every day. The guy can't get enough football. You can tell the guy is actually, kind of like that old school. Well, hopefully, obviously, I'm not with him 24/7, but hopefully, like that old school Peyton Manning grinder who watches tape to really get in the mindset of the defenses he's going up against and everything else. But the kid is an absolute stud. Like, you could tell the guy's all about the game. He's not trying to do anything extra. And so, in my mind, no news is good news when it comes to him.
Well, I mean, and obviously, you want him to play well. You want him to do well. Yeah. But I really thought he's had a strong camp. I think he's had I've seen him grow because, I mean, everybody keeps on talking about how much of a leader he is, how much he's done. And I really think that the guys are really excited about Justin Herbert this year. They said he's been more vocal in the locker room, more vocal in the huddle, more vocal everywhere. It's funny. I actually have video of Gilberto and Dan. If Dan was Gilberto's coach, here is the video.
You got a bad attitude, and you don't listen. You think you're in my way. You understand that? You think you're in some fancy school? Bullshit. You show me that. Makes me wonder if you know the difference between a sneeze and a wet fart. You're going to be second string all your life, boy.
Dude, we should do a poll. What is the best football movie? What's funny? The other day I was thinking about doing a pizza get together with the linemen and watching a football movie. That was one of the first movies I came up in my mind, but I'm like, oh no, that's gonna be inappropriate to watch with some high school players or whatever. But Varsity Blues in my mind has got to be one of the best football movies, ever. I say Varsity Blues. Remember the Titans. Those two are like the top two for me. If you think of any others, obviously raid the comment section over there. Let us know what's your favorite football movie. But those two, absolute legendary. Like, one to motivate and the other just to laugh your ass off and have a good time. It's absolutely hilarious.
And here you go, Dan. I know you've been asking for it.
Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
Woo! That's right. That's Justin Herbert every time, ESPN walks up to him, NFL Network walks up to him. I'm telling you, if you're not first, you're last.
But yeah, no, I thought Justin's had a great camp. I think he's done some really good stuff. Man, the down the field, that touch on the down the field passes. Yeah. He's had a really nice touch. Mike Williams, by the way, I think it's time. It's time, Dan. It's no more 80-20. I think he's 90-10, 95-5. Like, the dude, just anything down the field, he really makes that grab. and he lays out and he does everything for him. So I really am very impressed with.
I hope so. So I'm probably going to draft Justin number 1 in my draft, first round. That way, no one can claim the son of Odin over me. And then we'll see what other receiver I pick in the fantasy draft in the league.
I'd love to see what you have to do with that. But yeah, that's basically. I mean, Justin Herbert has been. He's Justin Herbert. I mean, I don't know what other way to
put it. Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, everything's gonna pick up anyway whenever the season actually starts, and the 2 weeks or whatever. You know what? Because they get a week off, right? The lazy asses after the 3rd preseason game and all the cuts and all that.
What did you say?
I said, I think they get a week off, don't they, after the 3rd preseason game?
Well, I mean, they have some practices, but yeah, they get a couple of days off, which is going to be good for a guy like Tito Banye, some of these other guys that kind of heal up and get ready for.
So I'm going to have another week with no football. Good God Almighty, dude. Well, I guess at least
college football.
Yeah, at least it's back. But my only gripe against college football, I don't want to see Appalachia State against, Alabama and them get killed or some stuff like that. There's too much of that stuff going on, and that always, bugs me because it's like, it's not entertaining. It's not good to watch. So seriously, I can't wait to jump off topic real quick. I can't wait till they finally act like grown-ups and adopt a playoff format. And that way Alabama is never out of it again. That's going to be wild, dude. Because I think they're doing 12 teams, right? Or something.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? This is I've been telling you guys, I think Dan should be Justin Herbert's wise man. Here's video of what that would look like if they were together. I think that would be you if Herbert if Herbert beats Mahomes twice this year and then a 3rd time in the playoffs, I'd be the ultimate heel. I think that would be the ultimate
heel. I would do all the, Sunday morning roundtables and all that, and I'd be spreading the good word according to Justin Herbert. I don't know if he has a middle name. I'll look that up later. But I would be – you've already seen, Frau, how many times don't we hang out with people or even these kids at school who think they know everything? How many times don't I say Justin Herbert's the best quarterback in the NFL and I defend him? 100% I believe it.
You like you're crazy. His middle name is Patrick, by the way.
Justin Patrick Herbert. I will defend him to the death. You're lucky I don't have my shield in here right now. I'd pull it out. But 100%, I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. We don't have time to break it down, but as soon as I break it down for everybody why I don't think Mahomes is better, they're all like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. Well, I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, no expletives, kid show, but it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Open your eyes. Don't fall for the okie doke just because the blue check mark's not there. Just because some moron who works for ESPN tweets out, oh my God, no look past this and that. Get out of here, dude. I'm not falling for the okie doke.
If I'm telling you right now, if God, what was that? I had a good one too. If Herbert honestly this is Dan when he sees
really
Justin
dialing
Herbert.
him in, dude.
When he sees Justin Herbert, this is Dan.
You need to chill. You need to chill.
When he sees when he sees the way he plays and everything, he's like, oh my God. I'm telling you guys, Dan wanted Herbert from the beginning. He saw that Rose Bowl game and he's like, that's my future quarterback. And I started laughing. I'm like, we'll see. He's like, no seeing. He's like, that's who I want. So
and look what Tua's doing.
Dan pulled a David Beckham. If you guys don't know, David Beckham saw his wife, I think, on a magazine or something.
Oh, yeah.
And said, I want to marry her. And he ends up marrying her. That's how Dan did it with Justin Herbert. He's like, I want that to be my quarterback. And boom, it ends up happening. So
absolute stud, dude.
So definitely some funny stuff there. But yeah, I mean, we gave you guys the full breakdown. By the way, before we go, another guy that I think had a strong week, Dan, I can't believe it's taking me 49 minutes to say this. JT Woods, Alohi Gilman went down with an injury before the joint practices, so that gave JT Woods a chance to go out there and show out. And I thought he had a strong performance the 2 days of camp. And then I thought he showed it up. Tonight he had one mistake where he kind of overthought a play, over pursued. But I thought it was but I mean, other than that, I thought he's had a strong camp. One of the things that JT Woods does that showed tonight is, and I saw this the other day in camp, Olave went up for a pass, and instead of going up and doing something else or going for the ball, JT went straight for his hands, and he ripped the ball out of his hands. He did it on Sunday night against the Saints as well, with I think a tight end or another receiver. I can't remember what it was right now off the top of my head, but that's the thing that he does. He rips the ball out. He doesn't go for the interception. He doesn't go for other stuff. He goes for the ball to try and yank it out. And a couple of times he was successful on Sunday night. So, and he was successful during the joint practice as well. So that's a guy who I asked Brandon Staley, I asked Derwin James, hey, I know you guys obviously you don't want an injury. You rather have Alohi Gilman in there. But I asked them they both said one player that benefited from Alohi not being there was JT Woods. So I was very impressed with some of the stuff that I saw from JT. Like we said, there's inexperience there as well behind Derwin. I mean, Alohi's been a good player for them. I mean, he had that clutch catch a couple of years ago against the Chiefs, the one where he dove and he caught that pass.
Right at his ass.
Well, no, he had to dive for that. Remember, he like baseball.
Yeah, it was low, but it was right at him. It was in his area.
Well, I guess so. But then also last year against the Browns, he had that clutch play in the end zone where he picked off. Oh God, who was the quarterback?
Wasn't it Brissett?
Was it Brissett? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait,
yeah. I think it was Brissett.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'll look it up right now. But he picked off the pass, and it seems like he really has some. He really does do some. Yeah, it was Jacoby Brissett. Good job, Dan.
Heel trap, baby.
But it was a good play by him, and Alohi's been there, so we'll see what Alohi does. But remember, we know how the Chargers run this defense. It will probably be Alohi and JT Woods back there while Derwin's in the box or playing another position. So definitely going to be some interesting stuff. But I wanted to shout out JT Woods before we go. But definitely another great episode, Dan. I know we had said, we'll do about 30 minutes, but when you and I get going, it turns into almost an hour show. But we appreciate you guys for so much for checking out yet another episode of What's Up, Bolts. We'll be back now more consistently. And guys, I hope you guys are ready, because during the season, I have some really cool interviews lined up. You guys know how we like to do it here. We like to interview a beat writer or somebody the week leading up to that game to give you guys the full insight on the team that the Chargers are facing. So we will be doing that. I already have my list going. I'm not going to reveal it to you guys. You guys are going to know the week of, but there's definitely exactly. There's definitely a good list of people that I want to bring on. You guys already know some of the people that we have on, especially in the division. Obviously we have some people, but I want to bring on with other teams. I can't wait for you guys to see who I have in mind for the rest of them. So those are going to be fun. And then obviously Dan and I will do the full the Chargers breakdown, and then our predictions and all that as well. So I hope you guys are excited for the season. Dan and I will not be doing this after the 49ers game. Most likely, I think we'll be doing this after the 53-man roster comes out. So we'll be as soon as the 53-man roster comes out, Dan and I will jump on and we will break down the full 53-man roster. So I hope you guys are excited as we are. What's Up, Bolts is going to take it up a notch this season. And like I told you guys, I'm sorry that we've
been lagging a little bit. But I mean, we were just busy, dude. Like you've seen it. We've been getting home 8, 9 o'clock and just going to bed up at 5:30, and the next day got to go do it again, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously we can't wait to be back and everything.
Get the season going, dude. I can't stand that. Well, obviously, I'm glad for preseason. Let's get everybody opportunities, this and that. But this is the part that, I just feel like I feel like a caged animal, Frown. Let's go. Let's get it started. Let's get to week 1. I'm dying over here. I feel like that Dave Chappelle meme where he's kind of scratching his neck and he's like, "You got a little week 1 football over there for me?"
Yeah, exactly. No, and I mean that's the thing. Dan and I get very excited about doing all this, and obviously this is a lot of fun, and we love keeping you guys informed. And Obviously, we each kind of give you guys a different perspective because of the different routes that we've kind of taken when it comes to sports. But we hope we keep you guys informed and you guys like it the way we do this show. And like we've said, if you guys have any questions or anything,
Get in the
feel
comments.
free to shoot us.
By the way, let me
real
look
quick,
this
Dan,
up.
before we do
Okay.
that, this is What's Up Bolts.
I've been gone. And I'm sorry. Sorry for what the city has had to endure in my absence. But you did endure it. And the evidence of that struggle is lying at my feet. You did not fail this city. And I promise I will not fail you by leaving it again.
Nope, we will not. We will
Shout
not.
out,
be leaving
shout
you
out
again.
to the arrow.
Exactly. So, but Dan, go ahead with what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say some guy commented last time saying about his conspiracy theory that Frown was actually Dan and Daygo and everything else. Let me tell you, here we go. Frown, you put up a 2 and I'll put up a 3. We're 2 different people. Look at that right there. All right, Frown, you left me hanging. No, it's too late now. Now, okay, here we go. Do it at the same time. That way they don't think we're the same person. There you go, dude. There you go. We're 2 different people.
Peace and love.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Peace and love. Peace and love.
But obviously, we appreciate you guys so much. Again, we're very excited about this season. It is the second season of What's Up Bolts. We're excited. Like I told you guys, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are ready. Yeah, we'll try and mix in a little Hilberto in. I know some of you guys, and you guys have told me at training camp, we love when Dan and Hilberto get going and they start arguing. So we'll try and get in Hilberto a couple of times here. What's his name?
Scumbag. That's Stooge. That's Scumbag. Hilberto!
Exactly. So we'll try and mix him in here. And we'll try and get him in here. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Guys, please let your friends know. Let other Charger fans know, hey, you guys are going to want to see what Dan and Daygo and Fernando are up to on What's Up Bolts. Make sure you guys subscribe. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers,
oh my God.
it is still
Stop
on.
doing
One
this.
lucky viewer.
They're going to
listener.
believe this. Stop it.
No, it's going to happen. One lucky viewer or listener will be having lunch with Dan and Daygo. Drinks
I am not that interesting. I am not that interesting.
You know, he's very interesting. But make sure you guys obviously and little Daniel, you're not allowed to partake. I know you want to have lunch with your big cousin, but you're not allowed to. But definitely we're excited. Please, guys, subscribe, comment. If you guys have any questions for myself or for Dan, make sure you guys let us know. Dan is very good at clipping those out, sending them to me, and we'll put them on here on the show. But again, we appreciate you guys so much for listening. Truly, it means a lot for you guys. I mean, honestly, like Dan and I never know, oh, what's the temperature like? But then when you guys start messaging me and asking me like, oh, hey, when are you guys gonna, well, I need like I can't remember who, somebody else said I need it in my life. Like I need an episode, and I'm like, okay, we'll get it out. So again, we appreciate you guys so much. Hey, don't forget to hit the notification button every time we drop an episode or a video or something. Boom, you're gonna get it instantly. But thank you guys so much. And hey, real quick, if you guys want to win your fantasy draft, I talked to Andy Holloway. He's a fantasy football expert.
It was a good one.
I appreciate it. Make sure you guys go check out that interview. It was a fun interview that I had with him. Make sure you guys go check it out on the COMPAS on the Beat page. I got into it and I asked him, what do you think about Quentin Johnston? What do you think about Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, all that stuff? So there's plenty of Charger stuff on there. Make sure you guys go and check all that out. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out everything else on COMPAS on the Beat. COMPAS on the Beat. Don't forget to check out House of Horns. Don't forget to check out Combat COMPAS. And don't forget to check out COMPAS FC. We kind of took a week off, but we will be back this week.
Oh, I need it. Because let me tell you something. Any Red Devil fan out there, they are not looking too good. Eddie's excited because Pep is off to a 2-0 start. Eddie is so hyped. He's big hyped. He's a big Pep guy, so it's definitely going to make for interesting conversation over there.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. But again, guys, thank you guys so much for checking it out. Again, have a great start of your week. And obviously, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.